Okay, we should be back. Hello. Hello, hello. Test, test. All right. You're back. I'm back. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I started the stream wrong. Um but we're back. So hopefully people can find it again. I Yeah, I started it wrong, so it wasn't going to properly save. So now it should be A-okay. Damn, I haven't seen you in forever. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get into it then. Today, got an old painting that slaps, of course. Today's old painting that slaps is actually an etching that slaps. And I'm going to show you that now. It is one of the etchings by Anders Zorn. If you have never seen these etchings, there is a really good book of his etchings that is quite cheap. Someone has kind of collected together all the etchings, and it's really good. Paperback. I got it last year, and it has tons of etchings, loads of ones that I'd never seen before of Anders Zorn. Obviously, he's very much more known for paintings, right? But he did a ton of etchings, and yeah, they're really, really nice. They're all done in this very like hatched style. He's able to get a very painterly feel from etching, and yeah, just amazing. Like when you sort of view them a bit further from a distance, they really coalesce together, and they feel a bit more like sort of like a pen and ink sketch, pen and ink painting. But obviously, you see them, and they're just these marks. So yeah, really cool stuff. Like I said, there is a paperback book of these collected together, but he's just able to get this really great sense of light. He has amazing kind of lost edges, and even the way he finds edges, it isn't like a crisp line. You can see he's just a real master with the density of it. Yeah, these are absolutely brilliant. This is sort of like I'd love to be able to draw like with a biro pen like this. It's got that real kind of look to it. So yeah, not only a great oil painter and watercolorist, but also a great etcher, true master. So yeah, that is today's old etching that slaps. There's a ton of these though, so should look them up. And sometimes they come on sale as well, and then they're not actually too expensive. I was really tempted to buy one last year. The one came available in like an auction. I think it's a German auction actually, and yeah, it's only a few €100, and like to have an original Anders Zorn etching, I was like, that's not too bad. So yeah, who's this? Anders Zorn. I'll write it down, and then we will move on. Anders Zorn. All right. So, what are we gonna do today? Obviously, I have been working on this Atom Eve painting. Kind of sketch that I started. It was fun. Yeah, maybe I'll do a bit more on it today. I don't know, but I did kind of fancy, just because I was just a bit tired, and a bit run down from the weekend. I don't want to like overly have to concentrate loads on something, and so I thought, do you know what? I will start just with a blank canvas, and we'll just sketch around feel it out, see what arises. I've been looking at a lot of comic stuff lately, so it's probably, let's be fair, probably be some sort of comic character. Maybe we make up our own outfit for them, and go from there. But yeah, just wanted to do something low key, something real low key, so that I can just chat a bit more, Yeah, just something low key, easy mode, and I can chat to you guys a little bit more. So yeah, what's going on? Fill me in. What's the haps? Been working in art and not much going on, to be honest. Fair. Fair to do. Are you thinking about what you want to paint on the fly here, or did you have something in mind before the stream? Yeah, as much as I had in mind was just like a simple-ish kind of standing pose, superhero pose type thing. Yeah, nothing crazy. Just something I can relax into. I can probably get pretty far with today. I mean, it's only a sketch, right? So I'll more than likely get into color and paint it. We might even be able to finish it today. Finish it in terms of it being a sketch, a painted sketch, a color sketch, whatever. You'll see. Part of the fun. Yeah, I'm just really into comics and superheroes right now. I've started rereading Invincible again, and you got a national holiday. There is, but I'm working. I'm working cause deadlines don't go away, What? How does that work? What do you mean? I'm freelance, mate. I can work any day. How does that work? You lunatic. I've been looking at a lot of drawings by like Ryan Otley and Jim Lee recently, comic book artists. Ryan Otley being kind of a lot of Invincible, and Jim Lee, I don't know actually where Jim Lee's working right now. DC still? I don't know. Watching his old live streams anyway. Guy's prolific. So kind of standard superhero-y pose here, but I don't care. I do what I want. Just really trying to sort of like stylize angles, right? And proportions. I do really like the sort of like Miles Morales Spider-Verse-y kind of proportions. It's something quite appealing about that. So yeah, I was talking about this morning with my colleagues. We were talking about like basically how to practice kind of stylized proportions, but while doing real studies. So for example, like we were discussing how you can learn real proportions, real human proportions. I think obviously it's a great way to start, and a great thing to learn. But specifically in like stylized work, but these kind of proportions that I'm drawing here, like no one is these proportions in real life, like, so there isn't any reference that you can follow for that. But the problem is you learn from real life, and you get very familiar with like real life proportions. And then when you come to draw something stylized, you sort of, go with the thing that you've learned. And what happens is that you end up drawing something that is, really quite normal. And then, your stylized work has less of an impact, or it just, it feels a bit dull or a bit stiff, etc. And it's like, where's, how do you study the stylized proportions, but in the same way that you study real proportions? And I was talking about the fact that last time I was going life drawing like really often. Hang on, I'm sort of skipping a thing here in my explanation. Okay, so I'm much more of a painter, right, than a draftsman, right? That's kind of always just been what I've leaned into, right? And at a certain point in time, at life drawing, I would really just be drawing like, if there was a face and it's lit, I would be drawing like shadow shapes, right? Like this. I wouldn't be the rare candy show on YouTube. Hello, welcome. I would be drawing shadow shapes, right? Like this, and I would only really sort of draw lines to then, indicate to myself where the next set of shadows would be. And I would just, this was how I was life drawing, right? I was essentially just drawing shadows. And what this meant was that I had a real good understanding of, these kind of shapes that pop up in real life. So, for rendering, for painting, this is really helpful, right? You start to see the same shapes over again, and you learn that way. But the problem with this was that when I was doing this, I was not taking into account anything about the figure in space. Candy Show, this is on a Photoshop, not pencil and paper. And I like both, yeah. I wasn't taking into account anything about the figure. So when I last went back to life drawing, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do, shadow shapes anymore. What I'm gonna do is draw mannequins, but with primitives. So I'm gonna use spheres. I'm gonna use cylinders. I'm gonna use boxes, and I'm going to draw what's in front of me. But I'm going to use, this instead. And this way, I can study from real life, and study the figure. But I'm ignoring the visual, the shadow shapes, because that's something that I would always default to, because it's just, something I'm very familiar with. And like as a painter, I guess, more so than a draftsman, it's just what I gravitate towards. So, this is what I was doing at life drawing for, the longest time when I went back to doing it regularly, right? And this really helped me. This sort of gave me like a construction mindset where I then started to get much better at, drawing figures in dynamic poses, because I was using my shorthand of primitives, whilst looking at real life three-dimensional people, and sort of learning how my shorthand relates to a real body, in space, etc., etc. And that was great. But now what I'm thinking is, what I want to do is go back, do life drawing regularly again. And this time, using the model that's obviously in front of me as the pose, but starting to, again, do the mannequin. However, this time, stylized proportions. So I'm basically going to sort of like caricaturize the figure, so if I've got like a skinny dude, then I'm going to give him like Miles Morales proportions. If I've got like a larger, more muscly guy, then I'm going to draw him as if he's a Hulk, and anything in between. And I use those two, characters as examples, but I don't necessarily mean I'm turning people into superheroes. But I'm going to study the figure using stylized proportions. And that way I can get better at not only, inventing that stuff more accurately, but also practicing then the stylization, which is, I think, where people get stuck. And I also get stuck there sometimes, is like I draw and study from real life, and no one in real life looks like this. So, the stylization becomes something that I have to sort of make up after the fact. Whereas I think I need to do it like at the source a bit more. And yeah, I feel like that's going to be a good way to do it. So I'll let you know the results. Maybe you'll be able to see the results, but I'm going to do a lot more sketching and stuff. Long story short. Are you using a tablet? Yes. Is it hard when you use paper and pencil? If you get it wrong, you need to rub it out a lot and ruins the paper. Not really. No, I don't tend to rub things out super loads. I always draw quite light in my sketchbook anyway. I use a mechanical pencil, so it's not very disruptive overall. So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts, I guess, with how to study stylized proportions while still maintaining the study of, the human figure, as it were, because there is a disconnect. I do tend to see it a lot as well. You'll find one thing as well as if you draw a normal proportioned person, right, and then you try and put like an armor on them, like a stylized armor, or like a League character or something. You draw normal people, it won't work. What you draw will be too stiff, too basic, too normal, and it won't have the level of stylization and proportion and all that kind of stuff. I'm new, by the way. Just saw your channel. Yeah, I can tell. Thank you for thanks for stopping in. Yo, dead toothbrush. Glad to catch this stream. We'll be lurky. All right. If you're wondering where I'm getting these questions from, it's on YouTube as well as Twitch. Yeah, the question: do you use reference a lot? Yes and no. Like, I don't use reference for a lot of things. I will use reference that I'm provided for particular things. If the client has a particular design to their character or armor or whatever, then yeah, I will use the reference provided. But yeah, when it comes to like looking at reference for particular things, I will look at reference before I work, but I won't look at much reference as I'm working. I am very good at copying things, right? And if I have my reference open while I am working, I will invariably copy it, right? And because of that, it will become less what I need and more just what the reference is. So I tend to look at reference beforehand, like take in as much like information about it as possible, and then I try and replicate it. And I think that also helps to sort of solidify it in your mind as well. You're having to recall it. The recall is very good for solidifying something in your memory. But yeah, I don't tend to have that kind of stuff open while I work so much. It's like I said, autopilot will really become a problem. Okay, let's rough in a kind of hand pose. I could do my own kind of Spider-Man, I guess, and do my own suit design. Dunk dunk. pretty cool. I kind of like his proportions. How do you decide what to push outside of normal in terms of stylization? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it depends. It depends, right? It's kind of like thinking about a caricature. You know, you can pick certain features that already stand out and push them even further. You know, for example, like I said, you might have someone that's like kind of quite tall and skinny with like swimmer's shoulders or something. You know, like this kind of build, and you just push those proportions for that kind of character. Like, it really depends, yeah, what it is that you're drawing, who you're drawing. Is it easier to draw animals and Pokemon than people and anime characters? I mean, it's easier to draw things that you draw often, right? I don't draw Pokemon ever, so would probably find it a little bit more difficult, yeah. I don't really draw animals that much either, but you know, I do kind of understand human anatomy well enough to sort of ad lib animal anatomy to a point. It's still like not amazing at it though. I get by. I do drawing streams too. Okay. Do you do animation? I do not do animation. Actually, maybe I'll go with something like or not. No. I'm really bad at drawing hair. Practice and get better. Get good, scrub. I used to be terrible at drawing and painting hair, and then yeah, you just one day I was like, okay, this has to stop. It's kind of what happens with like most things that end up practicing. So that they start off being something that I really struggle with, and then I'm like, yo, I can't have this go on any longer. And then I do like a lot of studies on it, and then it ends up becoming like one of my favorite things to paint. So like hair was one of those. Do you have regulars who come to your channel? Yeah, not so much on YouTube though. It's much more on Twitch. Whole gang there on Twitch. And they're right, gang. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Jonah, what's up? Sorry, I missed you there before. Crazy timing, straight up summoned. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry. Don't worry about messaging a lot. I'll just ignore it if it's annoying me. So ask away. Oh, Yukino, what's up? Don't worry. You don't have to worry about just lurking or anything. Thanks for tuning in. I'm fine with lurking. Like, it is a little awkward after a while if I'm just talking to myself and there isn't anything to interact with. But hey, I get it. People are busy. I'm having a bad day today. Oh shit. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm just making some indications on here of anatomy that I might want to pick up on when we get into dropping some color and stuff. Color? Yes. Color. Let's hit save on that. It's okay, I'm working on a book character art for a friend, so that's fun. Oh, nice. Nice. Love the Spider-Man idea. Wanted to draw him too. I honestly draw Spider-Man a lot. Just because he's basically just a dude, right? So I'll draw a cool pose and then I'll be like, oh, I'll just make that Spider-Man. Spooder. But he's just got cool proportions, you know. Yeah, I don't want to have the chat overlaid on the screen itself. I don't. People like watch these back and stuff like that, and yeah, I just don't want that stuff there. Thanks though. Okay, right. Let's get the pen tool out. The pen tool? Yes. Let's do it. So, yeah, as I've said before, I don't tend to do like a really clean line work pass because I use the pen tool to sort of select out a shape, right? And the pen tool is, a pixel. So that kind of serves as like a very clean line art for me. And I can usually solve problems in the painting stage more so than the drawing stage. In a drawing, I eventually sort of lose the ability to conceive of it in space properly without, lighting and so on. So we use this. It's better without chat on the screen. So in the VOZ it just looks like Alex is schizophrenic. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just want the VODs to be clean. Clean. So yeah, I'm going the comic shop this weekend, the big one. The big one in London. I'm going to look at everything. I'm going to leave my bank card at home. I'm only going to take cash. Therefore, I can only buy what I have the cash for. I've got the like big Invincible comic, like compendium volume 1, right? It's like that thick, and I got it a while ago, and I did read all that, but it's so hard to like lay in bed and read because it is basically a breeze block. It's quite heavy. Yeah, it's really awkward. I keep having to like swap hands and like lay with my arm in a certain position to like hold the book. Proceeds to take 2k cash. Yeah. I come back next stream and I'm like, guys, I fucked up. Guys, I messed up. Okay, pretty cool. Right, let's quickly grab something that I can use as a background kind of stand-in. City lights at night. I want like a sort of city lights at night, kind of like thing that I can use as a stand-in for the background. Well, use as the background really, and that can help inform our lighting. Let's see, something like this. I'll be turning on large donation. So I've just grabbed this photo, but I'm using like the top half of it because of the perspective, you know. And we'll use that as kind of a stand-in for the background. And what I'll also do, because it's got a nice palette, got nice lights on it already, right? So let's quickly duplicate that. Okay, copy, paste. Okay, there we go. And we'll go filter, filter gallery. And let's go brush strokes. Oh no, where is it? Artistic. Paint daubs. So I like this one. This one can work quite well to take detail out of a photo. It's also quite nice to take detail out of a painting if you've like started your painting and you've been quite sort of messy with it just to get colors down, and you like what you've got color wise, but you don't really like the way that it's painted. You can use this filter to basically kill the details again. But what I'm going to use this for in this particular circumstance is to turn a low resolution photograph into something that looks kind of like A, that it's painted, but B, like a bokeh blur. Bokeh blur. I'm just thinking about adding a little bit of a vertical perspective. Okay, let me do a bit more to this. But yeah, I can show you what I mean about kind of killing the detail in a painting. I can sort of do that for you to show you what I mean. But I also want to kill some of the value on this as well, because it's a bit too bright. Don't need it that bright. Is the background after all. Okay, let's make him a lot darker. Yeah, so as you can see, it was like this, right? Very crunchy, like low res, a lot of noise to it. And then I use that filter and it's, you know, got rid of a lot of that texture and given everything a certain shape. So now it feels a lot more like a sort of a stylized, like bokeh blur, basically, for those city lights. But that's not the only use for this filter, like I said. And when I do something a bit later, I'll show you how else I use it sometimes. Because yeah, the reason I find it so useful is as I am a scribbler. I scribble. Oh shit. I scribble a lot. And therefore I will quite often have like the information down that I want. I'll quite often have the information down, but it will be a mess. And so what I will do is like kill some of that information. So I'm just getting that sort of warmer glow from the bottom, that kind of like street lights sort of thing going on. This is good. Whenever I'm doing a sketch like this, I would quite often start with the background and just like, yeah, grab a photo or something. Sometimes even like another painting, either of mine or like someone else's that I just like the color of, and like I'm not using it for anything other than the colors, and then drop that in just to get the palette. Again, that way it's really just sets it up, gives me stuff to pick from. But I find if I want to make up a lighting, having the context in which that lighting is in is very helpful. Obviously. So here we go. At this point, you know, we've got our silhouette, we've got our sketch, we've got our background, so that's kind of ready to go palette wise. And what I want to do now is then sort out any of the kind of flat design on this. So in this case, you know, what does this guy's suit look like? What are the flat kind of graphics on this suit? And I'm just gonna like make something up that I think is cool. And then later on we can talk about texture. Great way to start if you're scared of blank canvas. Yeah, exactly. Don't be scared. But yeah, it is. You're right. So these kind of flats that I'm using are on separate layers. So I've got the underlying layer, and then I've got the eyes on top and the sketch on top of that. So they're not, you know, I will make each one of these a separate layer essentially. I can use a hard brush for these. So let's think, what kind of design? Spider-Man always has like the coolest suits, but let's make one up, shall we? And it doesn't have to be this blue either. I'm just putting some shapes down to see what I like. Is there something? Charlie Arts. What's going on? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Let's get a hard eraser for this as well, so we can really carve out some nice graphic shapes. And I'm just window shopping right now. That's what I like to call this. I'm just trying stuff out. Looking at stuff, seeing if it's cool. Like I said, this doesn't necessarily even need to be Spider-Man. This could be... This could just be what I want to wear. This is as if I was in the Spider-Verse, right? This is this is how Alex would pull up in the comic shop. Yeah, yeah, in my skin tight superhero leotard. I'm like, hi, do you have any? Yeah, it's absolutely brain melting me right now. I want to see you in that. I want to see me in this. I don't have this build. I tell you that. I tell you that. This is like Spider-Man if he had 5 gum, you know? Yeah, where there's a paintball. Might get the books for free. Yeah. I don't know, dude. Might get asked to leave. This is like cool mint. Cool mint Spider-Man. It's kind of cool. No. Wonder if there should be like a secondary underneath. That's kind of... What do you think? Kind of don't like it on the head there. Let's see. I'm just thinking about the perspective of these shapes where they should fall near enough. Stuff like this I always get wrong. Kind of feels like a collar on his neck. I don't really want that. It's cool, Spearmint Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Okay, so let's think about what's next. What's next? We should get a bit of lighting on this bad boy. I think maybe I want like one inner shape in these eyes as well. Can always add more later. We can even change the design completely if we want. But this should be alright for now. Okay, lights, lights. So we're gonna add a what? Anyone? Linear dodge, add. Double click. Transparency layer shapes. Tick it off. Yeah, let's try out some lighting. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Where are we going to go with this? I'm just going to put any color in right now. And we can try out a few things, where the light's coming from, what color it is, all that kind of thing. We'll just put it in roughly for now. Okay, so we could have it coming off in from like kind of above off to the side. Let's see. I don't really want it blue. The pink's kind of nice. I mean, the orange kind of fits quite well. What if it was darker but a bit more saturated? Something like that, maybe? Just gonna let's quickly block that off. I'll paint it back like differently later, but what if it was a bit lower in intensity? I kind of like the warm's okay. The warm's okay. What if we then had like, let's just try some stuff out. If we go with something like cool from above. That can give us a bit of form. And this one would be like very soft, but it would be nice for some form in the front. And that could be ambient like this. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying something out here. If we go more ambient from above, we could potentially have like strong, you know, street light from below kind of thing. Which again, it fit the city thing quite nicely. And then we could really play up like a sort of fake kind of moonlight from above, maybe. Yo, Castonia, what's going on? What is this? This is we're just mucking around. We're just mucking around. We're just trying doing a kind of, you know, superhero character standing there kind of thing. Yeah, we're just trying stuff out. Just starting from scratch, you know, doing something low key, easy. Did you finish Atom Eve? No, I mean, I wasn't ever going to. I was just doing it on stream for a bit of fun. Yeah, just enjoying doing some sketches and stuff. No big projects, you know. Got too much on at the moment to be locking into stuff for a long time. Just got to do whatever I feel like, you know. Yeah, I do like this orange side light. Like, it feels kind of nice for the setting. You know, I might knock out some like contrast behind him in places so its silhouette pops out a bit better. But that's quite nice. And then I think we do need like a sort of an ambient source of light. You know, that kind of permeates from above. And this we can use to kind of subtly light forms down the front of the body. Okay, so we're going to fill it with that. How did you make the background? Looks really nice and loose, but at the same time, you understand what it is. Yeah, so it's a low resolution photo. I can grab the exact one. It's this photo that's like really small, and we're using like the top portion of it. And then because that photo is really low res, you know, when we brought it in and stretched it, it's like this. And what I do is I add a paint daubs filter to it, and that takes out a lot of the crunchiness and gives us the sort of bokeh blur looking effect. And then obviously I added some layers to rejig the lighting. I'll go back and do some more kind of stuff like that on it as well. But yeah, it's very very simple thing. I will do that quite a bit, you know, grab photos for use that way and use that filter in particular because it is really good. Okay, so we've got this blue light. What I'm going to do is start to like bring that in. But first, let's finish the orange light. Let's finish the orange light. Getting carried away. Let's put this on normal. Grab that. Put it on a linear dodge. Basically, just going to finesse the edge of this. Oh. Just getting some nice softer edges on here. More painterly. So I just erase the edge back with the hard brush and then go in with this softer brush and kind of paint a soft edge back in. Nothing super special there, but you know, I see where a shape is and then I could be like, okay, gonna go put that back in, remake it. Not paying like a load of attention to it being super correct or anything. Just interlocking shapes, really. turn my line work back on, just see where. What time is it? Okay, it's not time to talk about food yet. But believe me, special food coming up, mate. Okay, we're talking about food. I think I'm going to order a burger this evening. Just so that you know, just so you guys are prepared. I really wanted a burger like all weekend. I didn't have one. Friggin' love burgers. Burgers. Cheeseburger? Yeah, probably. Cheeseburger. It's gotta be. It's gotta be, mate. Okay, now let's use the blue light. Mask it in. Let's get the line work back on as well. So I'll just sort of roughly put it in. I'm looking for like upward facing planes basically, or somewhat upward facing planes. And then we can get better shapes for them. But we just kind of roughly block in where those planes are. It doesn't need to be super exact. And this is just going to give us a little bit of form. Boom. Okay, sorry, back to the blue, back to the blue. Okay. Let's put a bit of kind of ambient occlusion in here. Let's get our line work back on. And we can always adjust the value of this later. But yo, man, it is raining out there. It's gonna be a wet burger, I tell you. If it gets rained on, it just maybe go for soup. No, dude, no, soup. Soup is not a meal, dude. man who eats soup goes hungry, you know. Says Alex Heal. Yeah, touche, mate. Okay. He's coming on. He's getting there. He's getting there. So with this layer, this multiply layer, I'm, basically just knocking in a bit of ambient occlusion, but yeah, basically just some soft shadows. That are helping the forms like roll under and read. Did you finish one of the Batman drawings? One of the Batman drawings. Oh, you mean like the 360 one? No. I'm building up to this. The 360 image. It's a lot of work to put together, and I kind of realized that if I want to do it properly, there's certain things I need to like do and get in place, and one of those things is to sort of practice a render style that will enable me to get a nice result, but also paint it quickly, because there's going to be like 20 odd characters on that thing, and I don't want it to be something that takes me forever. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the time. Considering I work full time, so I've got to basically do a few things to get it working. However, as you can see, this this render style that I am working in right now is quite quick to execute, and this is something that I would like to do. But I just need to lay the groundwork for it and stuff first, so that when it comes execution time, I can just get in and do it. And I also haven't necessarily figured out like what exactly the piece is going to be, like what the characters are going to be. You know, I originally drew in a lot of comic characters, right? But it wasn't like grabbing me, you know? It wasn't really being like, yeah, sick. So, you know, I might fill it with characters like this, which are just not necessarily anything, but just riffing on stuff that I like that's already in popular culture. I don't know. We'll see. The other thing was that I realized like doing stuff like that on stream, the setup for it and everything, just requires so much of my concentration that I can't really like chat to people and be entertaining or even just relax on stream. You know, I have to really like lock in for it, and it's just too much effort for me. Like after work, I really just want to do what I'm doing like right now, just something that's a bit low stakes, something I can take my mind off of a little bit, so that I can chat to you guys, and you know, if there are any like questions when it comes to what I'm doing, and or if I fancy doing like a little bit of a tutorial about something, I can do, and it's, you know, it's just a bit easier overall. So yeah, thinking of, well, just doing more laid back stuff on stream. And then when I get to a point of something like that, with a project like that I want to do, and I have it all set up, you know, then I can do that, because essentially that project becomes me just painting stuff like this to put back into that scene. And it works quite well. So there you go. Long story short, no. No. All right, let's put a little bit of like specularity in here. Bit of spec. Yeah, you know, like work just really takes it out of me. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle psyching myself up to come on and stream after a full day's work, but like I really love streaming and hanging out with you guys. So I managed to psych myself up for it most of the time, but yeah, it's a lot. You know, when I was on a break, it's quite nice just like streaming with you guys for a few hours every day. That's really nice and chill. But yeah, I obviously can't do that right now. Just have to do it in the evenings, you know, and after a full day of work. Sometimes I'm just like, ugh. Yeah, definitely find it a little bit difficult to be like entertaining, you know. Imagine having a full-time job. Couldn't be me. God, if I could do this for a living, just paint on stream, hang out with you guys, do paint overs and stuff. Dream job. Absolute dream job. But I don't think there's really a market for it. Glad you're still managing to stream though. It's really nice to work alongside. Yeah, for real. Listen, if I could stream like my my actual work, that would be so good. I'd get so much done. Like I'm pretty fast anyway, but I get a lot done on stream. Loads done. Is he gonna get glowing eyes? Do his eyes glow? Do they? No. Gotta be an imposter, Alex. Wait, does he have glowing eyes? Okay. So I'm just in the background where there are some lights that sort of cut into the form a little bit, well, cut into my contour a little bit in places that I don't necessarily want them to. I'm just sort of painting them back out and then adding other ones in there. Nothing crazy. I've just got like a brush that is a sort of similar shape to these that I'm doing that with. But the paint daubs filter like gives you a certain shape. The daub that it makes. So I have a brush that is a similar shape to it, and then it's very easy if I ever use that brush, that filter, I can paint back in. Paint back into it, basically. It's not too much of an issue. Whoa. Nice and crisp. Yeah, I'm just really into like trying to get nice, clean shapes. I've been looking at a lot of Alex Garner work, and yeah, obviously, like this is kind of what my style is like right now. Is like this, but yeah, Alex Garner's got some very nice, clean shapes. I'm just trying to get a little bit more of that going in my work. Let's see. Sorry, that was a bit of a jump scare. Hey, it's looking really cool. Thank you. How long have we got? We got half an hour. Okay. I think we can finish it. We can finish it. We can do it. I don't think I want this on here, this rim light, but I don't know. God damn. It would be super juicy, wouldn't it? Hella juicy. All right. Are we doing that? Are we doing that rim light? It's like, it is nice without it. Don't get me wrong. But look at that. Give him a burger. That rim light is... Hey, do you want a little tip for doing this kind of stuff if you are going to add like a rim light like this? Okay, I'll do it on a different layer. Avoid doing this. Okay. I'll explain what this is in a second. See this quite a lot. Okay. Avoid, if you're going to add a rim light, avoid doing this where the thickness of it is consistent throughout the length of the rim light. I see this quite a lot where it becomes like a really, really flat graphic thing. And like the rim light is there to pick it out from the background. There is a sort of a graphic element to it. But if you want it to be sort of believable and not necessarily feel like it's stuck on top of the surface, then you need to design the shape. And how I like to think about it is, if in any one particular section, the shape needs to go from like thick to thin, and where possible, try and make a triangle out of it, so that the shape is always tapering in one direction or another, and going from as thin as you can make it to like as thick as you can get away with. So you see the difference between something like this and this, where the shape is going thick to thin. You can break it down essentially into a triangle on any particular part, and we could even go a little bit thinner here, for example. And you see how it drives the eye to follow the form, and therefore it feels like it is light on the surface, and not something like this that feels stuck on. Both have the same effect, right? They both pick it out from the background. Okay, but one of them feels like light, and the other one feels very sort of flat and graphic. So yeah, always design the shape, and go from really, really thin to, like I said, as thick as you can make it on every single part of the shape. So like here, I can bring it inside, make it go really thin on the edge. Again, thick to thin. You see how it drives the eye to move through the shape. Instead of it sticking. When it sticks is when things feel flat. So even though this doesn't have any bloom on it or anything, it feels like, light on the surface a little bit more. And then you can add a little bit of bloom and all that kind of good stuff. And you'll get an even nicer effect. So, you make another layer on top. Go a little bit of color dodge, right? You can just get a bit of blue. Whoa, softer brush. Get a little bit of bloom to that shape. Deckhead. Thanks for the follow. Good name. Yeah, I get a little bit of bloom on the edge there. Very nice. Bit of extra color again. Bit of bleed. But yeah, there you go. A little bit of a rim light kind of tip there for you. Are we keeping the rim light or are we not? One for rim light, two for no rim light. Quite like the subtlety of it without, but I mean, it's just so juicy, isn't it? I might be team not. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. I think I'm also on team no. I'm on team burger in hand. Okay, which hand? Which hand, Jeff? Which hand? Raised hand? Or he's just holding it down next to him. It's got to be the one raised, I think. Just upload 2 versions again. Yeah, we'll do 2 versions. And then the 3rd version with glowing eyes. He's been super weird too, because no one holds burgers like this, but... We got some lettuce. Infamous burger version. Rim light on the burger though. Brother, rim lights are non-negotiable. Hey Fabian, what's up? Rim lights are non-negotiable. Stonking great patty in here. Double patty. He's like got his fingers in the burger. He's literally never had one before. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, what the hell do I do with this burger? And he's holding it like this because he's crazy with it. He's like squeezing it. Yeah, all the grease is coming out. Okay, and then we get rim light on the burger, right? As requested. Got little seeds on it too. The Borges. Beautiful. I want a burger so much right now. I can't. Yeah, I'm going home to get a burger. That's what I'm doing after this. I'm going home. I'm going to order a burger. I'm going to eat that burger. All right, let's get rid of that. I will also be having a burger right now. Burger tonight now. Yes. I'm sponsored. This is sponsored Burger King stream. The whole thing was an advert. All right. Where we at? Got 15 mins. So, huh? Burger? Yeah, guys, I'm going to get a big ass burger. Big burger. And then fries with hot sauce. Yeah. It's crazy. It's going to be crazy. And you know what's going to happen as well? Is I'm going to like black out as I eat it because I'm really hungry. And then it'll just like, it'll be gone and it'll be like it never happened. And I'll just be sat at home with an empty burger box. Being like, damn. Where'd that burger go? Stop, I have dry bread. Jeff, you need to get a grip, mate. A little bit of line work on the guy. You gonna have pickles on it? Hell yeah. Yeah, there's a place near my place. Does insane burgers. Okay, burger, no burger, rim light. We've got all the versions. Okay, should we have a little recap then? Let me just every layer that's on, I'm just gonna color code so that we can do this properly. This is just so we don't miss anything. What did we learn today? Yeah, exactly. No, I'll just go through it, because this was a a one and done, a one shot, one stream painting, So let's take it back. So yeah, we started off with our blue line sketch here. Whilst we were chatting, then I went over that with black line, found the lines that I was after. Then what we did was we used the pen tool and we made a flat shape for our guy. And at this point, we turn off the blue lines. We don't need those anymore. And then I was like, yeah, we need background. We need the background because we're going to go into color. We're going to do the shapes, the lighting, everything. So we need the background for that. So we got this photo, which is, I warped it, but essentially it is this really low res photo of a city from the front of a monorail, I think. As you can see, really low res. So we got that. We've warped it into the background. We're using the top part of it because it's in perspective, right? But then what we did was we distorted that into a bit more of an upward perspective. Not necessarily correct, but it's correct enough. And we used the paint daubs filter on it. So the paint daubs, instead of it looking horrible and mucky like this, paint daubs is going to take out some detail. It's going to replace all of the shapes with this kind of round, flat brush shape. And it's just a really good way of killing detail in photos and paintings, but also like evening out the surface so that you have something that looks normal. Painterly. And then, paint over that. Dropped in a bit of soft stuff in the background. Took a little bit of value out the lights there. It was a bit too bright. Added a bit of red. Add a bit of a soft warm glow from like the street lights below. And then add a little bit of a color dodge here just to pump that up. And that served pretty nicely as our background to this. And then we take a look at doing some graphic shapes on the outfit. So we were like, what's it going to be? Is it Spider-Man? Is it Black Panther? Is it a mix of the two? Spider-Panther? Is it me wearing my cycle outfit? Who knows? But anyway, these are all flat shapes. We'll probably turn the line work off here. Flat shapes that we used here. Then next, we added the warm light from the side here. And I kind of use a mask here, and that way I can like paint back and forth at the edges. I'm trying to get this one stroke to suggest the edge. So we have like harder edges that are just erased, and then I repaint back a softer edge. But as you can see, because the edges like somewhat represent the form, it gives it a lot of form already. Like one light source on a flat shape does work. Then we have another light source, which is again just like a kind of ambient skylight in here. And again, we're masking that out. Similar thing. And this is just giving us like a little bit more form in the shadows on the other side. Then we have a multiply layer. And this is like ambient occlusion, basically. Forms rolling under each other and so on. Just, defining some of these kind of creasy areas, giving us some harder edges on turns of form, that kind of a thing. Kind of loose as well. It's pretty loose. It's not super correct or anything. Then this layer, color dodge. Oh, sorry, linear dodge. This is giving us a little bit of specular to the material so that, you know, we understand it's a little bit shiny. Because up until now, it's quite matte. You know, which is fine. It could be matte, but I want it shiny. So it's shiny. Then again, we just added a little bit of like specularity to the kind of graphics here. So it's painting inside that, and then I dropped a little bit of glow down there. And then this was just to knock back the lights overall a little bit. It was getting a little bit too bright. I just wanted to knock those down a little bit there. Then, yeah, well, then we have the rim light that we're not going to have on. This was just a little bit of detailing up around the eyes, just a little edge there. Probably do a lot more of that stuff on here. And then, yeah, this is a little bit of like line work at the end. Get rid of this now. Oh no, that can stay. A little bit of line work serves the purpose of, you know, softening out the edges, but it's just kind of very Spider-Verse-y, you know. Looks cool. Pops it out from the background a little bit more, like here. It's like it's very much kind of a bit more realistic in that sense, and then this gives it that little bit of pop. And then, yeah, lastly we have a bit of vivid light, just to punch up the lights at the bottom here. And we have a lighten layer which just pushes those darks back a little bit, homogenizes everything else together. And then lastly we have a burger, because I'm going home to eat a burger. That's going to be in there. So yeah, that was it. That was a one stream wonder. Thanks, Charvaces. Very, very chill, very relaxing. Maybe we'll do another one tomorrow. What do you think? You guys down for another Spider Dude one stream wonder? Tomorrow we could do that. I will see, yeah, how I'm feeling when we do it. Zikawa, amazing. Thank you for sharing. No problem. Fabian, nice work, man. Thanks, Fabian. Much appreciated, mate. More burger, more wow. Enjoy the food. Thank you. Cheers, Jeff. Yeah. If you are new to the stream, all the streams are saved on Twitch here, but they're also on YouTube. So if you follow the link on the page, there is a link to the YouTube where this video gets saved with all the other videos from the stream. So you can watch it back at any point if you wanted to see what we did. Long form. You want to put it on while you're working or whatever, you can. There are now 43 episodes there for you to tune into. Some of them are great. Some of them are shit. This one's a good one. Yeah. Check them out. Stick them on while you're working. It's like a podcast. All right. Well, that's me. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. And peace